Many things open. 1 second.
That's fine.
Here. Very simple. Let me share.
Try. I have a gum addiction, so you're gonna see me like eat 10 pieces of gum at once.
Yeah, I have a nicotine addiction, so you can see me. Do you see this?
Mm-mm.
No.
Okay,
What
there
do
we
you
go.
see?
I see it now.
This?
Yeah, I see it now.
So
Sorry.
great. This is basically, I mean, there's probably not going to be so much. I know searching my area got a few, like 5, 6, but basically it's going to have, when the user does donate blood, instead of throwing them onto a map with like a bunch of pointer pins all over the place,
Yeah.
that this is going to be a change to drop, but we're going to have the. Let me actually show you. I'm sorry. I'm just going to show you on my Android Studio. I could bring it up what I have. That's now. 1 second. Layout. Here we go. And design. No, not that. I'm sorry. Wrong one. What in the world? Oh, whoops. Wrong thing. I'm sorry. Wrong Android Studios project. Here we go. Here we go. How do I zoom into here?
Mm-hmm.
Basically, I have to figure out how to do the fancy, card UI if we want to do that, give a better experience. But basically, this is what's going to be. It's going to have, right over here, it has the distance from the current location. Mm-hmm. It'll have the name of the center, address, open now, and then the view map. This view map over here, mm-hmm. I think is really, we don't need it. Basically, the idea is you tap on this and boom, it's going to send you over to the map view with just the location of this specific center where the user can now get directions or something like that.
Yep. Okay, so this is, I want to show you guys something real quick. I think that's good, but I think we should also implement the original story as well. Can I share my screen? Because I want.
Yes, I'm trying to get rid of it.
Sorry, I want to walk through a user experience that
Stop sharing.
Yep.
How do we stop sharing? It's not showing up.
Take a breath. It's where it says, it's in a little bitty tab at the top that says stop sharing. Okay.
Got it.
That's fine. So let me get this up and see if I can find it. Map. Okay, so this is the experience that I have as an Android user, and I don't by any stretch of the imagination consider myself an advanced Android user. I consider myself an average Android user, but this is the experience that I have. Let's see. Okay, so let me put my local zip code in there.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so why didn't you zoom in? Sorry, I'm on an emulator. So it basically, Maps itself does a lot of the features that we're trying to implement in our UI out of the box, right? You get that out of the box. But let's see, open now. More filters. So you get all that. You get all of that goodness just by the sake of doing maps. But on the map itself, and I'm wishing it will zoom in. Oh, here we go. Let's see. I'm not sure why it's not zooming in, but then I am on an emulator. That's not where I am. Oh, I've never used this map before. Okay. It still thinks that I'm in California. Come on. Come on. Did it go over? Yeah, okay.
No. Now it thinks your map is upside down.
No. The emulator itself thinks I'm in, I'm not where I am, right? It thinks I'm in, why the hell is this map go? Sorry, guys. Sorry. Okay. So let's do my places. Home. All right. How am you guys seeing where I live? Why is this map going upside down? It's like, it's ridiculous. Okay. Home.
That's why you don't want to use maps.
No. I
I'm
want to use
joking.
maps. And here's the reason why, because on the phone it doesn't work that way.
Yeah, I know.
Just this are you here? Yeah. Are you here now? Yes. Okay. It's just a couple things. One, I've never set up maps on this device, and two, I'm clicking with the mouse rather than with my finger. So, but
Right.
so this is why I want a map view, because if I look at a location, I can see where it is in relationship to other things I know. For example, if I wanted to go donate blood before lunch at Amora's, I might pick a blood donation center over here and not one over here, because it's closer, not to exactly where I am, but somewhere I want to be later, right? But seeing the actual cross streets and other businesses closer to those centers might help people make a better choice. So and it should be easy enough. Yeah, it should be as easy as passing this information to Google Maps as a implicit intent, right? And let Google
Right.
Maps do it for you. Just let Google Maps do it for you. Not to say that we can't have our own UI as the primary UI and just have a button that says open in Maps, and
Open
then
the maps, maybe.
yeah.
There's also you lose the data. Meaning, again, I don't know if we care about this, but when
What do you mean?
when you just hand everything over to Google Maps and they choose that location from there, you don't have access to that data anymore. Whereas if they press on this button, I don't know
What
if you
data?
need it,
You
meaning
don't.
you won't know where they're going. Like this, we know they pressed on this, they clicked on this one. This is the one that we could assume that they're using. I don't know if we're going to need that in the future, but we'll know in our app, okay.
Yeah, but what if they click on 5 of them? Like, what if they just keep clicking on one? We don't know which of those 5 or just 2. I think unless like we had something like with the Red Cross where we actually set up appointments for them. We really don't know where they're going. We only know which one they clicked on.
Okay.
Or which 2 they clicked on, or like me, which 5 they clicked on, because I'm looking for the one closest to my breakfast place.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Valid reason. Right. I definitely hear you.
So,
So I
I
would definitely consider putting, let's say, a view on maps.
yeah. So if you do like just view maps, you were saying you didn't think you needed the view maps button, but you can still implement it and just send that information over to Maps and let them look for it. It also gives them the opportunity to use their GPS to actually navigate to that place, right?
Right. So that we would have that would be my idea. Regardless, on tapping a location, I would send them to Google Maps, and then they could just boom get directions to that place.
Okay.
Instead of having all the places in front of them and having to decide on Google Maps which place they want to go. They see, hey, I know this area, I know this street. Click on it. Now that street is sent to Google Maps, and they could just click get directions.
Okay. I don't know what's going on with this thing right here. Why the map of the world is upside down.
Yeah, that's weird. That's weird
Yeah.
stuff.
I'm just calling it something to do with the emulator. That, and for some reason, all the emulators think you're in Mountain View, California. So, whatever. But, okay, so I'm okay with this story. The way you guys, sorry, my ear started ringing. The way that you guys started using it, I'm absolutely okay with it. I also, however, would like the original story to be implemented as well, even if it's from a button, just another button at the top, view location in Maps,
And Brendan was working on that story, right, for the past while.
Yeah. So, but we're actually working on the same thing, aren't we?
Yeah,
No.
we are. But the way she's saying it now, your story is really the second, like the view.
The intent, the
map
implicit
view, right?
intent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, which will just send them to Google Maps and set up all that data. Whereas the story me and Anuja are working on is more the list and then the specific location. Sending that to the maps.
Yeah. So I would split this into two stories.
So the part that I'm working on should be displaying the donation centers based on the user's current location, right?
In Google Maps,
In
correct.
Google
But
Maps.
Google Maps, yeah.
through an
Yeah.
implicit intent to Google Maps, and with the search parameters, I guess, of blood donation center,
Yeah.
whichever parameters will get the most results.
But Aaron, does Brandon not have to work on the home location as well? Because it has also to do with the Google Map thing, right?
Home location.
Right. So that was another
it's,
thing that
yeah.
Anuja was saying, that like if you could see, maybe share your screen with the 3 tabs to basically have. She wanted to have similar to the Red Cross, right? That they had, which is really, it's not too much more work implementing that. They could search, let's say if they have their home location, they could set a home location and basically search for places either near them or near their home. Who? Oh, you have that. Who's on right now? That Shelly?
That's Shelly.
Shelly,
Oh.
can you just open the image that I uploaded today on the web meeting?
You put it in a web meeting?
On the Slack.
Yeah.
On
So,
Slack.
yeah.
Okay.
So there will be an image with 3 tabs. So we do not necessarily replicate what Red Cross is doing, because Red Cross has 3 buttons.
Right.
This is
Where
completely
did you
different.
put it?
So basically, what we were trying to do
It's probably
in the web
farther
meeting.
up. It's farther up, I think.
This?
No, that's Brendan's. Maybe it's even farther up. Yeah, right there.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Basically, you want to explain, Anuja?
Yeah, so these are the 3 criterias, like near me, near home location, and source location. We can just change the name or put images instead of those. But near me is going to be the current location. So based on the current location, it's going to fetch the list and show the blood donation centers. Based on the home location is something which would be there in the settings that the user would provide. So that's going to be his home location, and search location is something that he explicitly wants to search. Like, for example, blood donation centers in, I don't know, maybe Chicago or New York or whatever. So whatever location that he wants to search explicitly. So that information or that list would be there in that tab. So we were actually trying to just, differentiate 3 different criteria and get the lists based on these 3 criteria.
And this is still the list, right? Not the actual map.
No, it's
Right, but
gonna be,
again, the map. Let's say it would be near me. You'd have a button, view on maps, and that would send the current location to the maps. If it would be near home location, and they would say view on maps, that would just send whatever location was stored as the home location and send that to maps. So it's just sending a different it's just getting the places API for a different location, and it would just send the maps for a different location.
Okay. And then the search
Yeah.
location is still a search over a list and not the map?
No, that I think would be basically they would just enter whatever, let's say New York City, and enter, and that would just either again pull up a list or send them to again with the option to send them to maps. Basically, all these would have the exact same functionality, just with different target locations.
So in my opinion, the search location should be the map view, because a list of everything in New York City has no context other than it's New York City, right? Whereas showing them a map of New York City with dots on it gives them more context. They can, you know what I mean? I guess. Okay, explain to me what is the aversion to showing maps?
I think the aversion to showing maps is people. First of all, two things. First of all, it's a lot less in the app. So I think it feels a little bit sometimes. The app itself will feel a little bit. What would I say? Like Frankenstein together. Like, oh, we'll just send you here when you say you want to do blood, we'll send you here. When you say you want to do a donation, we'll just send you here. It's less contained. And
But wouldn't that be true for any implicit intent? So that would mean that, I mean, I'm just talking from a pure Android design perspective. That would mean that any app that uses implicit intent is a Frankenstein app.
I think that most apps would probably minimize implicit intents to what's the best way to say it? To not be that if their target purpose of this app is to donate blood, they would try, say the Red Cross is not going to send you immediately to the maps. They want to try to keep you in app. I think it just gives a better user experience.
Google Maps, isn't that still within that application? It doesn't open a third.
No, it opens a separate. No, it opens the map application. It's not within our application. So it's a stack basically. So our application goes. So it's a stack. Our application is below the Google Maps application. So it opens the Google Map application, which is there inside our device. It's pre-installed.
It's an implicit intent.
Right. You're not embedding Google Maps into your app.
Exactly.
There's no reason to do that. It's just a lot of work when you could just send over to, if you just want maps, you just send over to Google Maps. So I don't know. I just think most apps would try to keep it sandbox into their app as much as they can and then send you out when necessary. You want directions? Okay, we're not going to take care of your directions. We'll send you to Google Maps. But when we're going to display you stuff, places, we're not going to just send you, okay, go look at Google for places.
Right. Well, here's my thing. I would give the user the best experience, whether it's an implicit intent over to Google Maps or a list of things in my app. And for me personally, the best experience is to view a picture of the place that I'm going, whether it's in maps, whether it's embedded in our application. A list of things is just that. It doesn't give you context. It's just a list of things, right? So you can give me, for example, you can tell me there's a Dunkin' Donuts 5 miles away and there's one 4 miles away, but until I see it on the map and know exactly where it is, I have no context of where it is in the city. It could be, on the other side of Lake Mary, which will take me 15 minutes to get to, or can be in Sanford, which is another city altogether, and it only takes me 5 minutes because of the way that traffic is going. And until I can see it in context and with other things, is it on that side of I-4 or is it on this side of I-4? Because if I have to cross I-4 at 5 o'clock, it's going to take me 3 times longer than going even a longer distance away from I-4, right? But until I see that context of traffic patterns, I don't know. I just don't. I mean, I literally make decisions like that. I'll go, okay, this one is only a mile away, and but it's over across I-4, and I know it takes 15 minutes to get across I-4 at 5 o'clock, whereas this one is 5 miles away, but I'm going across against traffic that way. Do I know the city like that without seeing a map? I don't, because I just use maps to navigate everywhere.
Yeah, so I don't know whether this is possible or not, but Aaron, can we can also get the ratings and everything about that particular locations in our list, right? So what we are trying to do,
you can get that in Google Maps as well.
Yes, that's true. You could get it in Google Maps as well.
Because you're basically getting all that information from places.
From Google Maps.
Which is,
right. Yeah, that is definitely true. I just think it gives it more of a complete feel to the app.
I'm looking just for an amalgamation of both approaches, not one or the other.
Correct. That's why I think your idea with a view in maps is the best way to go. So you sort of have both. You have, okay, do I want to just see it in this app and I see all the information, or okay, I want to see it in the maps, boom, press view in maps, and it just takes the user to the maps.
Yeah, because there's a ton, honestly, guys, there's a ton of streets. I've lived here for 20 years, ton of streets I just don't know. Somebody told me about a street, that I don't know. I don't know where that is. But if you tell me that it's near, that hospital in
right.
Hot Springs, then I get that. And you just don't see it from a list of things. You can see that on the map.
True,
Yes.
100%. And but on the other hand, if I see, if I'll see the name, I live in a smaller town, I will recognize it. So it really depends.
Yeah, I won't.
The person's living. I'm living in a small town where basically I know every street there. I'm not living in New York City. You're right. New York City or a real city, you know, you need
Yeah.
those maps. So like this, to have both approaches, you know, I think is a good idea. It gives a feel that the app is, I'm looking for the right word, you know, it's just a complete and you know,
Contained.
Yeah.
self-contained, self-standing app. And it also gives the user experience that they could get to what you're looking for, to get to the maps view.
So, yeah.
Also,
This
you
is
know,
what I don't.
keep in mind that this part is not even like the core part of the app.
Yeah, the blood donation.
We can have user retentions elsewhere, you know, like
Yeah.
campaigning and profiling and things like
Yeah.
that.
I think that's where we have user retention more so than anything, because of some of the, you guys weren't on when Brandon and I were looking at Just Giving, but that API has so much flexibility and so many powerful APIs that
Yeah, I watched the video. I mean, I wasn't on, but I watched what he uploaded.
So I think, you know, through campaigning is where we get more information and more about the users, where we can reach out to them even if we just sent them to maps, we could record the fact that we sent them to the map. And we have somebody who can potentially donate, right? Where they donate, we could have that information come back to us by way of having them, the reward system. So if they put their donation number or something like that, or the, I think in Just Giving, isn't there a donor code or something that we can record in Just Giving?
Yes.
Brendan? Yeah. So if we assign them a donor code and then, you know, have them have somehow to, you know, confirm that they've donated their donation, whether it's a monetary or blood donation, then I think that is probably a better way of app retention. What I think we can't what we can't do that the Blood Cross does really well is when they set up an appointment, they have information coming back from those blood donation centers about that appointment, that the person made that appointment, that the person donated. We just don't have that
Right.
coming back. We're assuming that based upon something they've clicked in the app as relates to a location. But I think if we somehow entice the user to come back after making a blood donation, come back after making a blood donation and give us that feedback that they've donated, whether it's giving them a personalized online badge or something that they can post on Facebook, or something that entices them to come back to the app and let us know that they've donated, then I think that's a better way of user retention. Yeah. And also the campaign, like the campaign ticker, how many people donated what, you know, those are the type of things that are going to help drive user retention. And if we actually go to the Teams, right? So Just Giving has a Teams API where you can set up teams. Have you seen that one? Yeah. So, yeah. I think there's opportunities there that are not tied to the actual selection of a donation center, because if you're like me, you're going to select 2 different ones before you actually show up to a place where you can go there. Because I will call, make an appointment. Oh, I forgot, I missed my appointment. Call again, make another appointment, miss that appointment, and then finally go, you know. So I don't know enough about what we're expected to capture from the user to prove that they've donated blood.
Well, I mean, if you know, we have enough users, I think we can, you know, contact these centers and just have like a special unique code that we can recognize on our app, and then when the user goes, finish donating the blood, and then the nurse or whoever hand the code to them, and they can just enter it into a text box or something, and then get it verified.
Right, but that's all in the future after.
Yeah, but that's
Yeah, that's all in the future.
But all the rewards also. The MVP is going to be the just the donating, the money donating, and the blood donating, and then we're going to add in all these features. Correct?
Yep.
So we'll just. That's why I was just working on just making this as good as we can.
Yep.
And then and it's not even that difficult. Coding wise, it's not that difficult once you get it up to have 3 tabs, 2 tabs, whatever it is. It's just just checking different locations and whatever. It hopefully will not take too long.
Yeah.
I'm hoping to get the Places API up and running tonight. We'll see if that happens.
So how are we going to look at the screen then? So what is the conclusion of this?
So I think we're concluding that we have the button, right, for the view and maps. We could have the list also and the button to view and maps. Is that a consensus or?
Yes.
Yeah, well, for the first two, I still think the search location should be a view of maps.
So basically, search location, let me just think. The only thing that you could add with the search location is maybe just they'll enter a location, and then we could just send it off to Google Maps with the search parameters with that location.
Right.
They'll still have the text. Let's say we're going to have an edit text where they'll put in whatever location they're searching for, click OK or whatever button they press, boom, it sends them to Google Maps with everything pre-entered, the location and blood donation centers, whichever.
Yeah. Did we ever decide or ever find out if your friend or this particular charity had specific locations that
I don't think they have.
So they can donate at any. So how do you when you go donate, notify the donation center that this donation is for LLS? It's for the location.
You would donate it to a specific account, maybe.
Okay.
Well.
Yeah, we need to figure.
Yeah, we need to.
Do we need to figure it out? Well, how do we? Yeah. Do we need to figure that out? And if so, then how do we let the users know that here's a donor code, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is it like assuming that's what it is, a donor code, or a recipient code, or I don't know, a charity code? You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah. I think he is free this Wednesday, and I talked to him about it. That there are questions that we need to ask him.
Mm-hmm.
So I can get him to join us in the meeting, and we'll have our questions answered.
Okay. So this Wednesday. Okay. Yeah. Which meeting? He's going to join in some regular stand-up or?
Yeah, the regular stand-up.
Okay.
Yep.
Is anyone else going to join us for the, how did you guys, sorry, I just got distracted, but how did you guys get the Blue Cross thingy to work? Because it keeps coming up, no results found for me. Like, no matter what I do.
Blue Cross?
Here. So when I'm using this app, if I click here or there, it doesn't matter. Oh, wait a minute, it came up. See, this is what I'm looking for. It appears as if this map is actually in the Blue Cross app, not in map.
That is a map view then. That's not an implicit intent.
Better a map view.
That's not an implicit intent.
Okay, it's a map view. Okay.
So if the view, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. I thought that's what we're gonna do is to have a map view inside of our app, right?
Well, okay, hold on.
So we are not actually opening up a Google Map app.
What does it give you though?
We are actually doing that, Brendan. If you're doing an implicit intent, you are actually opening a Google Maps application that's there in your device. But when you do it in map view, that is like a edit text or a text view in your application. It's a part of your layout. But implicit
Brendan, what were you?
not a part of your layout.
What was Brendan doing? He was doing that. Were you putting in a map view?
He was doing implicit intent.
What does a map view give you though? Just a map? It doesn't give you any of the other goodness of.
I think it gives you the zoom features. It displays the location with that balloon and.
Well, you have to set. I think it's sort of like if you ever use the Google Maps API, you have to like set all the everything. When you set location, you set the markers. You're able to set. I'm looking at it right now, but I think you're able to set markers at locations that you want.
You can set the zoom controls, the panning.
Hold on.
So that is what you were talking about till now. I mean, I was thinking about implicit intent or opening in our application.
Right. So you can't do something like blood centers near me using the
Right. I don't think so. You would have to, basically what you'd have to do is you would have to use the places API to get all the blood centers and then use the latitude, longitude information to set a marker in that map view at that latitude, longitude location.
So yeah, if you do another place, I can put a zip code in there. It'll take me to my city. Actually, that didn't even take me to my city. I'm not sure this map view works right.
Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it just lets you search the map. It doesn't put any bubbles. Oh, good. I can see that now. I need awareness of where everything else. So that's the city where I live, and you accept that, and then it'll do a search for you, and it didn't find anything in my city. That's why I kept saying it didn't find anything. So another thing, guys, this works this way because they have a list of Blue Cross or Red Cross blood donation centers. And that's the only thing they're searching is their blood donation centers.
Okay.
I don't think there is an option for directions and stuff for the map view. Because if you do it through implicit intent, you get all those facilities. But for the map view, I don't think it's.
Okay, so we are doing the implicit intent, right? We don't want any map views. We just want to have send all the information to the Google Map.
Yeah, the map views are only the map views are only going to be useful if you have a known list of places, because it doesn't, like, I know there's, like, if you guys saw me search before, within walking distance of where I live, there's 3 places I can donate blood, but it doesn't show in this app because it's not on their list of donation centers. So
not Red Cross.
why don't we do this? So continue what you're doing, right? Actually, I want to do like a POC, a proof of concept. Continue what you're doing, and we'll do it. Let Brandon do what he's doing with the implicit intent, and we'll just walk through both experiences once they're both done, right?
Mm-hmm.
We keep talking through them, and I think until we actually start using them, and it's perfect that we're nowhere near each other, so we can get a different experience. I think I'm probably. Where are you, Anuja?
I am creating the list screen with the tab.
No, where are you physically located?
Oh, I'm so sorry. Dallas, Texas.
You're in Dallas, which is a major city. I'm in Orlando, which is not a major city, but it's not a small town. You guys are out in the middle of nowhere, right?
I'm in a small
Indiana.
town.
Where's?
Yeah, Indiana.
Okay. So I think that gives us a good mix of metropolitan areas to see how it's going to work in different scenarios.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely makes sense.
And if nothing else, it's a good learning experience.
Mm-hmm.
We get to learn how to do it both ways,
Yeah.
right?
100%.
Okay, so that's that. So I would say, Brendan, the only thing I would say is take that one story, 11, and split it into two.
Mm-hmm.
And the line that says also will be the story that you're working on.
Okay.
Which is the implicit intent,
Right,
with the information, right?
right.
Shelly, do you want me to create a map for you for the search part? Because the search part, I'm doing the search part, and I think Brandon is not working on the search part, right? You're working on the current location, right, Brandon?
Yes.
Well,
Okay,
so
yeah, that's fine.
So
Yeah.
if you want me to create because I'll be looking at the search part, I'll be converting the address into the latitude, longitude, and displaying it onto the map. So if you want me to do that, and if you want to have that to have that experience, then I can create a map for you. I can and show the blood donation centers in that map for you.
Yep.
By that way, Brandon's code would be able to show the current location, the implicit intent, and the map you would be showing the search criteria. So we'll come to know what exactly and how is it different and how is it working.
Yep.
Yep.
That works. Works for me. So we all have our what we're working on. I'm working on the Google login, and then I'll take the story for the Facebook login once I'm done with Google. I'm not sure what Troy's working on though. Do you guys know?
I'm not
Anybody know? If not, I'll reach out to him afterwards. I thought he would make today's meeting because we talked about doing this Google story together so he could see what I was doing differently.
Okay, well, he's an accountant, and it's the season for him not to be able to have any time.
Yeah, I know. I was an accounting major.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
There you go.
Long time ago. But
Hey, Shelly.
Hmm?
If you go to the U track on item 11,
Yes.
it says in the also statement, it says that
There was an
a
also statement.
map view option for a specific location.
Yeah, that's not what
Those
you're
locations?
looking. Yeah, you're just doing the map view. You're doing the original story, and I wish there was a history here. Is there a history here? History. Okay, the original story was.
Okay, everyone, I'm just going to drop out.
Okay.
We'll see you. I'll continue working on my stuff, and if anything changes throughout, the rest of this meeting, let me know.
Okay.
Certainly will.
All right.
I can't see what.
Have a good night.
Right, man.
Yep. Okay, so I think this what it was. As a donor, I would like to select.
Can you share your screen?
Sure. And that way you can also see how to see the history of a story as well. Okay, so the way I got here was history. I am. And I don't see, this looks like it was part of the original story. As a donor, I would, when I select the blood donation, I would like to view a map of the nearest blood.
Location.
Yeah, that's the story you'll be
working. Okay.
Yep, that'll be the story you'll be working on. The rest of this was just modifications too. You want me to create that story?
Yeah.
Okay. Here. I wish there should have been a split option, but there isn't. I don't know where it is. Sorry. So I'm just gonna go right here. No, I'm gonna go. I feel like I need to.
Issues, right?
I get, oh, yeah. Okay. Do you get that when you're here too? Let's see.
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like I can sleep for another year. I feel like I can just continue to sleep. Today I didn't get up until afternoon. Hey, it only copied the last part of that. Okay, let's get out of here. Also, there are 2 that are in draft, which is scary because I thought I made those real stories. So, and I'll show you what I mean by that. There are 2 that are in draft, and I thought I copied them. This is it. Oh, this is it.
And Shirley, one more thing. Are we supposed to also look at the landscape view or just focus right now on the portrait part?
Just a portrait, I would say.
Yeah, yeah. We'll talk about different layouts layouts when we get to that, because it's not just the landscape; it's the bigger screens or the smaller screens too. And
yes.
And yeah, and honestly, until you guys get to lesson 13, I wouldn't even bother with it. Lesson 13 does a really good job at explaining how to do those things.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't already know how to do it until you get to 13, I wouldn't even bother with those things. We'll make those different stories when we get there. But for the MVP, it should just be default version view, which is portrait. I'm gonna. Oh. It's not even copying like what's here. Okay. Here. When this doesn't work the way I think it should, Notepad. I always do this. Doesn't copy, it copied the whole thing. There we go. So now I can copy it from in here and put it right here. Oh, no, it was there. That was even weirder. Okay, here we go. All right, so remember I said there's drafts there and I'm confused as to why there are drafts? Let's see. Can I save this without leaving?
Oh, you didn't make a subtask.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that in a moment. But I keep seeing those drafts. Oh, create issue. Like, what was this? Oh, nothing. Let's cancel that. Or close it. How come I can't delete it? This is nothing. Reset draft. Okay. Close it. And working. Let's get rid of this one. I don't know that what I'm doing is working, but it looks like it's working, so close. Okay. I didn't do what? I'm sorry. Link it? Link it? Yeah, okay. It's the subtask of, not 11, but it's the subtask of what 11 is, which is blood donations, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then let's see. So it is a user story itself. It's assigned to Brendan, and it's part of Sprint 1. So there you go. What, again, Brendan, what I would do is like, you're gonna see it on the board as a swim lane. Not my name. There's like 5 ways to view the same content in this, in this thing. There's the board, there's the list, and then there's the dashboard. You see it as a swim lane here, and I would just add a card for whatever your major task is. If you have more subtasks, then just keep adding cards, but I would at least have one task, per story typically you have more, right? Because our next task here is to, we need to, right?
Yes.
Find out how to dial into Zoom. We contacted them for more information.
Okay, you can assign that to me.
This finding out how to.
Yeah, I can look into that.
Okay. So Shelley, like the home location, get the blood donations near specific to the home location. So that is going to be a user story, right? And then whatever tasks we perform, those will fall underneath the subtasks, right?
Yep, you create a card for it. So for example, using signing in using Google, the first thing I needed to do was add Google to the Firebase. Oh God, stop it. Firebase UI, right? And then I needed to enable Google sign in and sign up on the Firebase console, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then I needed to generate SHA-1 key for Google sign up using key tool, right?
Okay, so whatever we do are the cards, actually.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And you move it to in progress to verify and done and like that.
Yep.
You can drag them.
Okay. Okay, and one last thing, I will be I will be using shared preferences for storing his home location, and that will actually be in the settings. So I'm going to create the settings screen. I'm going to create in a way that if later on in future, if anybody wants to make use of the settings screen, so to add his or her own settings so he can make use of that.
Yep.
So do you want me to create a share preferences that's publicly available throughout the application, or the share preferences should be per activity?
The shared preferences should be for the authenticated user.
No, so this share preferences is for example, if he enters and he goes to the settings screen.
Oh, it's for the donor. It's for the donor, right? It's not for the authenticated users. Okay. So, and your question is if there should be a preference just for that activity or throughout the application?
Yes. So should there be only one share preference which will be accessible throughout the application, or you want me to create share preferences specific
for that activity? Because here's the thing that's concerning me. If you have preference, well, here's a question. If you have preferences that are shared across the entire application, can you also have preferences that are unique to an activity?
I don't think so.
Because here's the reason why I asked that. What if once we get the authentication working for the campaigner or whatever, like logging in, right? Our login, well, let me go check back. So our login was for the campaign, not for the donor, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we have two different use cases, a person who's donating and a person who's running the campaign, right? The person who's running the campaign has to log in. They have to authenticate who they are, right? There may be preferences that are for an authenticated user that are not for the user that's not authenticated. So how do we secure the preferences that are for authenticated user and not worry about the preferences that are for the default or unauthenticated user? And even not mingling them together, right?
Mm.
Does that make sense?
Doesn't Firebase handle that?
What, for authenticated users?
Yeah.
Probably, but then what does that mean for what she's doing, which is not Firebase? You're not using Firebase preferences, right?
No, this will be for the application.
Right, that'll just be regular preferences. Will it add on to, how would it, well, one, will it conflict with Firebase preferences? I don't know, you know. So I would say for now, just to be safe, make it for that activity.
Okay.
Because I don't know how it plays with Firebase preferences. But you're right, Brendan, Firebase does have preferences, and I'm not sure we can or should use them along with activities that are not authenticated through Firebase.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Alrighty. So does that help with explaining the task and why the user story is a swim lane, and then everything you do to make that user story work? You need to make as a task, even, you know, creating I don't know, I don't know. I don't know, something. There are specific methods I'm writing for those, so we could write unit tests just for those methods.
Okay.
Yeah, so basically each node that you see is basically one testable unit, right? Where you can write a test for that node, right? So you can't be more than 2 tasks on one
Technically, node. Yeah. Technically, yeah. But for example, add Google to the Firebase UI. Can I test that? Yeah. Well, no, not without enabling the login to the Firebase console. So maybe this should be a part of that one task. It really is, one story is one testable unit, not one task, right? Because these are all the things I need to do to complete that story. The story should be one testable unit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It also should be something you can complete in one sprint.
Okay. Also, I'm not sure if we need to think about this right now, but let's say if I finish with my task and I want to merge it to the master, and later on say Aaron's finished his as well. So how do we mix all of those together in that tab view that Anuja created? Do we just have to manipulate the code?
No, actually,
how does it come together?
It's the merge feature of Git does that for you. So what Git will show you is it'll show you theirs and yours, and then it'll show you a UI that says you have a conflict. Do you want to keep yours? Do you want to keep theirs? Or do you want to merge them together, right? And if you select merge them together, then it's your responsibility. It'll try to merge it together, but it's your responsibility then go back and make sure it's merged in a way that makes sense for you, right? Especially with the UI, with the XML for the UI, you'll end up with stuff all over the place.
Right.
You end up putting them back together. For now, I'm doing the code review, so I'll be doing that stuff for you, but I do want to somebody to be looking over my shoulder to see what I'm doing with merging. Okay. So the next time, well, with the last one, it was just an empty project and then putting his UI stuff into basically an empty project. So there was no conflicts, but as soon as we get to that point where we have 2 UI changes for the same activity, right? Basically, right? 2 UI changes for the same activity, then I think it would be a good idea to wait to merge that until we can get into one of our meetings and we can all do it together.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
So Shelly, I know how it is done, but I mean, it shows you the differences between the 2 files and then you can merge it.
Yeah.
But I don't know how to do it when, for example, I have a fragment and Aaron has an activity and I he wants his code from the activity to be merged into the fragment. So the fragment is a completely different Java file and the activity is a completely different Java file. So how do we merge two different Java files together? I know how to do it in
you wouldn't merge two different Java files together. We have to make a decision on whether we're using fragments or not. Because if we're using fragments, then we all should be using fragments. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So, yeah, if you have an activity that's using fragments, then all the UI for that activity should be using fragments. A different activity doesn't necessarily have to use fragments, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's a conversation you, okay, so we're not putting everything in the main activity, right? This is a different activity altogether, blood donation, right? The main activity is the one that Aaron designed that has the 2 buttons. Did anybody take that story, or is there a story out there to do code the main activity?
I don't think there's one out there. I saw a user story that has that
attached to it.
Yeah.
What user story was that? Do you remember? I remember attaching it. I just don't remember what user story it was.
I think it's default sign-in, I think.
Really? Why would I?
Because you click through default sign-in, and I think that's where I saw it. Nope.
All right, there's not that many stories, so let's just go through them all.
Oh, there we go.
Is that it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so I need to move this to a different story, but this is just the main activity, right?
Mm-hmm.
I forgot where I was going with this. Nobody's working on this, right?
Nope.
Okay, I'll take this one.
Unassigned.
Yeah. I'll take this one because it's not really blood donation. It's actually just the main login. I mean, the main activity, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll take this one.
I think, like, I'm not sure if this is a good suggestion, but I think we should have like a skeleton in our app, in our application.
Yeah.
Where we have Java files for the implicit intent, and then another file for what Aaron is using, so we know, like, it merges better. Do you think?
We can do that. Do it. Like, do that first before you do anything else.
Yeah.
Commit it, and then I'll merge it into master, and everybody can pull
so
master.
let's set up a so I'll do that.
Or you want to do it now? We can do it now if you guys have time.
Yeah, I have time.
Okay, let's do it now then.
Yeah. So let's pull the master in.
Hold on, let me stash my changes. I have this is actually master. Okay, so let me stash these changes.
Okay.
All right, so Google login.
What is stashing?
Stashing is just like putting it on a shelf somewhere, out of the way. It really is what it sounds like. I'm just putting it in a stash somewhere. And I can bring it back later without like uploading it to the remote Git or anything like that. It's just stashed somewhere on a shelf in my local Git repository. And if I wanted to get that information back, I would go to Git and then unstash, and it will show me
changes.
Will show me all my stashes. I can view those stashes, right? What I have stashed, I can drop it or whatever, or I can apply the stash to the current branch. So, all right.
Okay.
So what do you want to do here? These are tests. So, and here you want to do what?
Maybe create a file.
That is a what kind of file? Well, what are we doing though? Are we creating an activity? What are we
No,
doing?
basically, what this is so we can know where we want to place our code. Because
Okay.
right now, I have a main activity and I have a map activity.
Okay.
I'm not sure if we want to put all of that into the same place. You know what I mean? So
Okay.
I'm going to have it, more organized. Have a
Okay.
hierarchy of
So you want to create another package?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask you about this. Are we following any specific architecture like MVC or MVP or MVVM or something like that, or we be doing it in the future? Because right now, I
I'm
mean,
familiar with MVC.
Are we
yeah,
doing MVC and not MVVC? I'll be right back.
Okay.
yeah, because that is the question I had as well, Brendan. Because
Right.
there has to be a model, there has to be a view.
Yeah, I worked with MVC before, but I never worked with MVVC.
Yeah, I have worked with MVC as well. I think by that way it will be easier to locate files.
Yeah, so I think we should have that skeleton up first, and then people can branch it, make their changes. So our merges are more better. I think. I guess.
Yeah.
Let's see. We have a lot of stories. Oh my gosh, like 30. Um,
That's what he's gonna say.
Okay, I'm back. How do you want to structure this? Oh.
Okay, so maybe create a. I'm not sure if it's called a package, but you see how I got those folders icon?
Yeah.
So maybe just make one for map util or something.
For
Map utils.
okay.
Okay, so that's where all the maps are stored,
Okay.
and then create another one. Um,
Do you want to separate out the? Oh, sorry.
you're right.
Yeah, I think so. So I never got wisdom teeth, but I swear to God, this feels like my wisdom teeth are coming in. Too old for it, but
Goodness.
Those are the worst.
I'm too old for it.
Maybe, yeah, your wisdom just came through.
Yeah. No, I was 18, 17 when I lost my last like baby teeth. So
Wow.
yeah, that was scary when like I have a missing tooth and I was 17. Anyway, do you want to separate the donor and the campaign activities?
Yes.
Yes, yes, yes.
So one that's called donor and then one that's called campaign.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
What else? Do we need
Adapters.
a networking layer? So networking util.
Okay. You said something, Anusha. What was it?
Adapters, all the adapters.
Oh yes. Yes.
Sorry, I'm useless when it comes to headaches or mouth pain.
Okay, I think that's it for now.
Yeah.
I think we have enough layers. Yeah,
Okay.
let's end this. You're not feeling too well. So
I'll be at work tomorrow not feeling well, so I might as well do something I'm enjoying, not feeling well. Oh. But I am being recorded. Okay, so yes, let's end this.
Yeah, I think let's just leave it. I think we have enough layers that we can work through.
Okay, and if you guys want to add more, then just add more. That's fine. So I'm just going to take this right to master rather than creating another branch and merging it.
Yep.
I'm just going to take it right to master. Oops, sorry.
Okay, so we're done with the meeting, right?
Yeah, we're done.
Yeah, I'll have to leave actually. So
Okay. Yeah. Feel free.
all right. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Bye bye.
Thanks. Bye bye.
Okay, so no. Sorry. Add directory. Since there are no files in those directories, I don't think it's going to. I don't think it's going to upload those directories because they're empty.
Oh.
But we can put like a dummy file in there just so it uploads the directory. Sorry. And we can delete those later. Now, go to Git add, and then look at version changes. I don't know what this is doing. That's weird. Local changes. Here we go. Okay, so now if we go to GitHub, look at master. Oh, that's the test one. Oh, me, okay. Don't, then you'll see they're all there now.
Sweet.
And we could always refactor them later if we want to change or rename them or move them. Refactoring is incredibly easy in IntelliJ.
Okay.
Like it's so dead easy, it's crazy. All right. I don't know.
We should end here.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. So have a good night.
Yes. So you're my study buddy.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want, where are you in the if you want to stop the recording now because we're done with this part.